Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Hello. So, how blessed am I to be able to say, yes, I own the rights to that music. Yes, I can say that. My son made me my own intro music. So, I am proud to say that I own the copyrights to that music. Hello. Hi, I am Shar Young. I am a kingdom entrepreneur and an inspirational speaker. I love acronyms. I promise you guys will see why soon. But my husband refers to me as the hood's intercessor. And I'm okay with that because I interpret that to mean I help women who are ready, keyword ready, to shed their pre Jesus season so that they can be ignited in the post Jesus season, right? Because I believe that is where the magic happens. At least it has for me, and I believe every woman should experience this kind of magic. I want women to see their shadow in mine, but also I want you to see your light shine through mine so that you can know that rebirth and transformation is possible. I promise you it is. I am a living witness. Um, so welcome to the Sunday Service Slay. Welcome to the Sunday Service Slay. So I have decided that Sundays videos, just like Saturdays, will be themed. And I will give you a synopsis of that day's service with some great points that I pull from the service. So I'm going to give you a synopsis of the service that I attended and get some very great points from the sermon. And of course, to help you fully understand, I do this to help you fully understand that Bible versus scripture and story, they really do coincide and they are dependent upon each other. And you can expect it to be dependable for you to be able to jump from verse to verse in different verses, and not just need one. So here's where I relate a portion of the message from the sermon delivered by pastors of my church, the historic Motor City Baptist Church. And I will relate that day's sermon to the topic, verse, and series of videos from the past week. So in the past week's videos were from being about my father's business. Sis has a business. Sis is about her business. Sis is about her father's business. Sis is me. That was last week's message, t-shirt, sweatshirt theme. So again, I grab points from our sermon, who today was given by our very own Reverend John Lowe. But I grab points from the sermon and relate them to this past week's story and message. Again, so this week our topic story comes from Luke 2:41 through 52. So the past week the story came from Luke 2:41 through 42, with the topic verse being Luke 2:49, 2 and 49. The topic verse being Luke 2 and 49, which states, "Why were you in distress and searching for me? Didn't you know that I had to be in my Father's house?" Of course, we're not going over any of that from last week. Today's the purpose of today's videos and all of Sunday's videos, God willing, will be that I will take a message from the sermon at church and relate it to the past week's last message and videos. So today's message came from Romans 11:36. Today's sermon, given by Reverend John Lowe, came from Romans 11:36. For from him and through him and to him, all things to him be the glory. So that verse reads Romans 11:36. From him and through him and to him are all things, to him be the glory. Everything that you get come from him. Everything you get comes from him. Everything you have, you got it through him. And everything you have, no matter what it is that you have, is still going to go back to him. And all things to him be the glory. Meaning, giving God the glory. Meaning, giving God whatever it is that you pray for and he gave it to you, you're going to give him the glory, right? So again, everything you get it from him. And then it goes back to him. So the sermon today was God is your source and everything else is the resource. The sermon today was God is your source and everything else is the resource. When you wake up in the morning, know it was the source that got you up. Everything else is the resource. From him, through him, to him. So again, I'm just going to be discussing a small piece from today's sermon for the sake of it being Sunday, and I'm going to try to keep these videos short. I'm also going to try to get Sunday's videos out a little sooner, but I say that about all the videos, right? So yeah, but that is my goal. So the full sermon, again, is on our church's Facebook page, and you are more than welcome to watch the full sermon there at Historic Motor City Baptist Church. So we, as Christians, we are like thermostats and not thermometers. We are supposed to decide the temperature around us, meaning the tone, meaning the things you let bother you, the negative you let in your life, things you worship, the things that you do on a daily that you probably shouldn't, that type of thing. So, we are supposed to decide what the temperature is around us and not just read the temperature that we're in the moment. Again, some of those things that I was just talking about. And yet, furthermore, like the temperature you're in the moment, illness. And all you can think about is the illness. The temperature you're in the moment, your pre-Jesus season, and you're stuck and you really don't know what road to take, what path to take, what Bible verses to start reading, what church to go to, what pastor to trust. I can go on and on. I understand. So we are supposed to set the tone again of the temperature wherever we go. You are not supposed to allow any circumstance, situation, burden, worry, any of that to worry. We're not supposed to worry about anything. We're supposed to give it all to God, right? So again, set your temperature because remember, you are the thermostat and not the thermometer in your homes. We literally walk around and we flick on the light or maybe the thermostat. But also in your house, the tone and the temperature that should be set and what's the tone for my house is me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. As for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. Again, Bible verses are dependable. This was a Bible verse that he referred to in the sermon because Bible verses are dependable upon another. So, um, again, you are setting the tone for the home, the temperature. You're casting out demons. You're building positivity. You are teaching, your children values and integrity and the word. You're helping them learn the word, taking them to church, things of that nature. Again, so you setting the tone. You are setting the tone when your vibe is that you and your house will serve the Lord. And that verse is Joshua 24:15. So again, you are supposed to set your tone on your job, your temperature, in your children's lives, whatever relationship you have, maybe your kid's father. You are to set the tone, the temperature of how those things are, is going to play out. Like, honestly, we have the ability to really get along with the other person that we have children with. We choose whether it be the man or the woman. We choose to take that situation left, forgetting that it ain't even about us. You set the tone. You set the tone. You set the temperature. Again, those type of situations, we let our ego, we ease God out. We let our ego step in, or our carnal flesh step in. You set the tone. You set the tone and the temperature if you're connected to the source. So, in your relationship with God, which is the most relationship to have, you set the tone. You set the temperature. Again, as I've been talking about for these past now 2 weeks, he gives you the choice. He loves you no matter what, but he gives you the choice. But again, we have to be really cognizant because we don't know the day nor the hour. So yes, he gives you the choice, but you have to be really, really cognizant and aware, and like playing Russian roulette with that. Because again, we don't know the day nor the hour. But you set the tone. You set the temperature. He gives you the choice. And he loves you no matter what. He loves you when you're ready. But you set the tone. And again, you got to be really aware of that because we don't know. We just don't. So we have to stop allowing other resources to set the tone. We have to stop allowing other circumstances to determine how we're going to feel inside. And I know I'm a person, and everybody is this person, but I'm a person who's been through many situations, where again, where I had to make my bathroom my war room. Sometimes where only faith, it was the only thing I had. Faith was the only thing I had in a lot of situations. And if I had allowed my situations to disconnect me from the source, had I allowed my situations to disconnect me from the source, I don't even know where I might be. I don't even know. So again, we have to stop, me and you, allowing the circumstances to determine how we're going to feel and how we're going to set the tone. We got to let that thing rest in God, build the relationship, be connected to the source. Again, you set the temperature because greater is in he than he that is in the world. You set the tone because greater is in he than he that is in the world. That's 1 John 4:4. Another verse that Pastor spoke about in the sermon, because again, all verses work dependently upon another. So Pastor spoke about the reason why we're like thermostats, and it's because we are connected to the source. And again, God is the source. So we're like thermostats because we are connected to the source. Um, and again, our pastor John Lowe gave the sermon and he defined the word source, which is defined as the supplier of something that you can't produce on your own. So the definition of source is defined as the supplier of something that you can't produce on your own. You can't make it, you can't buy it. If you're going to get it, you must get it from the source. You can't make it, you can't buy it. And if you are going to attain it, you must get it from the source. So now that you know what the source is, Pastor stated, everything else is a resource. So now that you know what the source is, everything else is now that you know what a source is, everything else around it is a resource. And a resource means something one turns to in the absence of the usual supply or source. So, resource is something one turns to in the absence of the usual supply or source. The resource is something that is readily available. Remember, the source, you can't touch it, you can't buy it. And if it's whatever it is, you have to get it from the source. But the resource is something readily available. You can reach out, you can get it. And the simple difference between source and resource is the things that we use, and source is where everything originates from. So the resource is the things that we use, the things that we touch, the things that we can get on our own, right? And then the source is where everything originates from. From the source, who I just said is God. From the source, who I just said is God, you get love, joy, peace, happiness, health, wealth, protection, provision, promotion. So I'm going to stop just a second. So if from the source you get love, joy, peace, happiness, health, wealth, protection, provision, and promotion. So if you're getting all of that, why wouldn't you want to be about God's business? Why wouldn't you want to be in your Father's house? If he's promising from the source, love, joy, peace, happiness, health, wealth, protection, provision, promotion. It don't come easy, though. I'm not saying this is easy, because you have to want to live righteous. And what is living righteous? You're trying to live, keyword, trying. You're striving to do this on a daily. Righteous. To live righteous, you're trying to live a sinless life daily. To live righteous, you're trying to live a sinless life daily. And so, again, if this stuff is guaranteed from the source, why wouldn't you want to put forth effort every day? If you promised protection, love, joy, peace, wealth, happiness, promotion, provision. Wow. So your entire life depends on the source, God. Everything around you emits the perception of how you are connected with your source. So everything around you emits the perception of how you are connected with your source, God. And it speaks volumes, trust me. It does. It's not easy. I don't want to promote that. I'm not going to promote that, but it's worth it, I promise you. God does things. He's amazing when you start shedding that pre-Jesus. I promise you. So, that actually closed out the Sunday service slay session. Of course, I got a few remarks, but that closed out the lesson part of it. Please watch again the full video, the full sermon from today. You can watch it on our Facebook page, which is the Historic Motor City Baptist Church Facebook page. But this is where, again, I give a synopsis of the sermon from today that was given by our leaders and pastors of the church today. It was the head pastor, Reverend John Lowe, gave the sermon. But I pulled pieces from the sermon and I related to the past week's lesson that I talked about. And this past week, it was Luke 2:41 through 52, with the focus verse being verse 49 this week. Again, and I do this, of course, to help you really understand that the Bible and the stories, the verses, they really do coincide and are dependent on each other. This week's sermon is about being connected to the source. This week's sermon was about being connected to the source. And that came from Romans 11:36, which reads, for from him and through him and to him are all things, to him be the glory. Everything I talked about this past week was basically telling us to and how to connect to God. So a lot of things, everything I talked about last week was telling us to and how to connect to God. Luke 2:49, being in my Father's house, Jesus understood, even being the Messiah, that he had to be obedient to his earthly parents. Even being, he could have been cocky in the moment, like, hey, listen here. But no, he chose to humble himself because he understood the assignment. He was connected to the source and he understood that. So he stayed humble and he returned to Nazareth with his parents, which he just really could have just, could have acted like he who he was, But he chose to obey his spiritual father and his earthly parents, which was discipline and obedience like no other, right? Then in John 4:34, my nourishment comes from doing the will of God. If you're feeding on the word and your nourishment is coming from doing the will of God, you're connected to the source, right? You're connected to the source, and you also you're doing his work. You're in his house, because remember, doing the work and being in his house is not also just only physically mean just being in the building. So doing the work and being in my Father's house doesn't only mean physically being in the building. So again, if your nourishment is doing the will of God, you connected to the source and you're doing his business, right? And then Matthew 5:3-12, all of the Beatitudes, which were the declarations of blessings from Jesus. Matthew 5:3-12, all of the Beatitudes, which were the declarations of blessings from Jesus. So again, if you are living, a righteous life, trying to live a sinless life. And Jesus is declaring blessings over you. You are connected to the source. You are directly connected in that case, because he was standing on the mount declaring blessings on the disciples and the followers, right? Connected to the source. By them sitting and listening and receiving the message, they were in their Father's house doing their Father's business. I can go on forever. I just love how, again, I said in the lesson that these lessons blow my mind as well, because I learn along the way. And so I love how when I get to one verse, it leads me and connects me to another one. And then that leads me to another story and connects me to something else. It's amazing because, again, by the end of the week, I'm somewhere where I never even intended for it to go. But it's a blessing for me and also for you, right? Again, in this season, it's about being obedient. So, again, you must connect to the source, and that is getting into the word, praying, fasting, trying to be, live righteous, trying to live, in the image of God, right? Having faith of a mustard seed, and that is no understatement. Having faith of a mustard seed that will directly connect you to him too. I promise you. Again, another wrong pipe. Again, when you don't have anything but your faith, that's a direct connection, because you're weak, your flesh is weak, and you are depending solely on God to bring you through a thing, to bless you with a thing. So, yeah, that's a direct. You're connected to the source. We have to do the work. You have to do the work to get connected to the source. The praying, the trying to live righteous. It's everyday progress, but connect to the source, and I promise you, he will align your steps. Again, it's an everyday process, but connect to the source, and he will light your pathway. He really will. If you are allowing nourishment, and doing the will of God, but to be your joy, you are connected. You connected to the source. If feeding on his word, doing the right thing, fasting and praying, and want to see miracles and wonders and signs, if that's your thing, which of course, we should be fasting and praying and all that. But you are corrected. You are connected to the source. All of these things connect you to the source. Trust me, I know, I promise y'all. So, if we are pressing to receive the benefits of those declarations, the Beatitudes that Jesus declared over the disciples on the Mount, we are connected to the source. So if we are pressing our way to receive the benefits of those declarations that Jesus declared over the disciples and the individuals on the Mount, we are connected to the source. So again, I do this to display how all Bible verses and stories relate and correlate. Let her know I'm on live. Let mom know I'm on live. She asking something. Sorry about that. Again, life be life. It's real life. So again, I do this to display how all Bible verses relate and correlate. And let me just speak to that. I'm very, very blessed because she's here. So again, life happens. And you okay, Ma? I was just letting them know that life happens. This is real live video. It's okay. And I'm blessed for her to be here. So she can interrupt anytime she get ready. So guys, I encourage you to really, really, if you are needing God to do a thing, I encourage you to start seeking him. Matthew 6:33. If you are really needing God to do a thing for you, I encourage you to start seeking him, as it says in Matthew 6:33. And you will find subsequent verses and verses that you need. You can use Google. There's many things that pop up that will help you to get to other verses and stories and things that will correlate to the verse that you may have Googled. Trust me. And if you're praying on it, God will get you there. God will give you the tools. He will make you land on the right websites, the right Bibles. God will give you the tools. I promise you. So, I thought again this would be a great way to end the series of the week, which was Sis is about her business. Sis owns a business. Sis is about her father's business. Sis is me. I thought this was a great way to end the series so that repetition is key. And if you keep repeating things and, if you're really watching and getting into the videos, then you'll start learning and you'll start searching in the Bibles and seeing the things, and start doing this on your own. Okay. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to get you there, because I needed help getting there, and I didn't get much of it until my husband, of course, but I still needed help getting there. That's why it took me so long to get there, as far as trying to get into the Bible and the Word and things of that nature. So, again, I relate. Today's whole purpose on Sundays is to relate the Bible verse of the week and topic to the sermon, just to again show you the way that Bible verses, his stories, go together. They're dependable upon each other, and you can connect different verses, for different things or the same things, that type of thing. So, if this series have helped you, or any of the videos you may have watched, or anyone please share them. Hit subscribe, follow, share, for whatever social media this may be showing up for you on. I really, really, really appreciate sticking it out with me. Again, this is and has been a process, but I am enjoying it, so I won't complain. But a few resources are Bible for Women in Daily Studying, Bible for Women in Daily Studying, the Study Bible, which has a few different transcriptions, such as the Message Bible and the New Living Testament. Also, another good one is the Amplified Bible app, which I have. This version is written in a dialogue that is really easy to interpret. Be really careful with transcriptions and different Bible apps and things of that nature, because as my pastor has always taught us, the transcription has changed over the years, and the words and starting to mean different things, because again, words have been changed, and words in the context, I talked about that too a few videos ago, is everything. Context in words and the way you interpret things is everything. So, we have to be careful with that. But this is a Message Bible as well. This Message Bible is by Eugene H. Peterson. I like the way Message Bibles are formatted, because they're like story-like and really make you, gives you a visual and makes you understand. And then also anything by Charles Stanley is phenomenal. Anything by Charles Stanley is phenomenal. As you see, I take, and it actually, had I not, before this series started, I have really been doing a lot more. Um, but God has me on a mission and an assignment. So, um, yeah, those are good resources. Guys, I don't know what God is doing in this season. I don't. But what I do know is I don't want him to do it without me. I don't know what God is doing. I don't. But I don't want him to do it without me. That is for sure. So remember, as I close, I am telling you this. I come here and do these videos and these testimonies and messages, not to impress you, not to brag on me. I don't come here, to be transparent for me. I come here to be transparent because people need this type of thing. And God, that's the assignment God has given me. So, again, it's not to impress you, but to impress upon you that if God did it for me, he can and he will do it for you. I promise you, you have the same access to the kingdom as I do. So that is it for the night. And I will see you all tomorrow. Good night. I love you.